Welcome back to another episode of Alestletics. I'm your host, Sam Muren, and joining me is Audrey. Audrey, how are you?
I just want to say I tried so hard not to laugh during that intro. Just Sam doing that every single time is the funniest thing to watch. He gets so into it.
Yeah, you got to get into it. You know, like, I feel like that's what brings people back and interested.
Clip that. Okay,
yeah,
next.
Yeah. That's the highlight reel of the episode. Sam has hope. You know what? Actually, that is kind of the theme of the episode. Not gonna lie, it is is there hope?
Is there hope? Question mark. That
Yeah.
is the title of the episode.
I might use
Is
that.
there hope?
Is there hope? Well, it just okay. So
Real talk.
We're getting back into it. You know, sports are starting to pick up, especially soccer, which is our theme today. Hopefully, some other sports will kick up too and bring hope. You know, kind of the theme. But we're left with soccer right now, so we might as well just talk about that. Let's start off with the women's soccer, which has
Sam has seen a couple of women's games, and he has a few notes.
Yeah, working the production crew for athletics, working camera for me, it gives me an opportunity to watch the games and evaluate. And not gonna say like, put me in, coach. Don't do that. I don't want to be in. I don't want to be on the field at all.
Put Sam in with the women.
Please don't. I don't want to be. I don't want to do any soccer coaching, playing, nothing. But even as an observer, you can just see the team is not functioning as it should be. And that's the most frustrating part, is it's not something to really put a finger on. You know, like, I can't sit there and say, oh, well, the offense needs to be better, or the defense needs to be better, or they're not passing the ball well, or nothing is working. You know, it just feels dysfunctional,
disconnected, like they're not together.
Yes, exactly. That is the perfect way to say it. Like, it almost is like you see a play forming, like there's a moment like, oh my gosh, there's something is happening, and then all of a sudden it turns into a misplay or a misread, and instead of a shot on goal, it's a pass that turns into a giveaway. And on both the offensive side and the defensive side, I believe Coach Burton has been more pleased with the offensive opportunities that the team's had. And, you know, in soccer, it's kind of one of those things where the offense comes when it comes. You know, it doesn't just happen all the time. It's not your typical sport where you just gifted offense magically. Even the best offensive teams, they go through slumps. It's very well known. But the defense has just not been there, and the goaltending can't keep up with the lack of defense. So there's no one to like point your finger at and be like, this is the problem. I firmly believe it's more just the team motto, and we'll kind of go through it and why that might be.
Yeah, so looking at their record, only about 6 games, right? Yeah. It's 1-4-1, so 1 loss or 1 win, 4 ties, and then 1 loss.
1 win, 4 losses, and 1 tie.
Oh, yes, clock that.
But they will also have played Carbondale by the time this releases. We were recording before. They'll have played Carbondale on Thursday. We don't have the outcome of that game, but it will be interesting.
Is there hope, Sam?
I don't know. I hope so. It's Carbondale. Please be Carbondale.
They're coming off of a 4 losing streak.
Yeah, it's a 4-game. Yeah, it's a 4-game losing streak. So you kind of have to hope the trends change a little bit. Otherwise, it snowballs, and then you're on a 5-game losing streak, and then it just continues, and the dread kind of sets in after really 5. Carbondale's a great opportunity to turn it around.
Sister school.
Yeah, and so when you're hearing this, it'll be obviously Saturday. So the next big game will be tomorrow against SIUE. And so, you know, winning against Carbondale could provide the opportunity to change the momentum, get a good win against a rival, come in against another rival and play well. We'll see. They've had a good break in between the last game and this game coming up. So let's go over some of those games. On August 14th, they played IU Indy, which I had never heard of, and clearly the Cougars...
IU Indy,
and they beat them 2-1. So
great.
Yeah,
I love IU Indy.
It was kind of one where I looked at the schedule and I was like, huh? You know,
first game.
But hey, for a first game in the bag, and it ends with a win. That's always great. Then they went to Chicago State. They tied 2-2, which is really good. Then they played Omaha. They lost 2-1. Then they played Missouri State. State 4-2. Now, I did not see this game in person, but I did get to talk to voice of the Cougars, Joe Pott, and he mentioned that it seemed dysfunctional. That was the game where he said he noticed the dysfunction too. And that continued into the game against Drake, where I did see them play, and you could just see it. You're just like, oh, just do better, because they can.
They're almost like hesitating.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that. Or if they weren't hesitating, it was like too single mindset, like not play as a team, play as a solo. And that just does not work. So I think there's some improvement there. And then most recently, as to this recording, August 31st, they were defeated by Evansville 3-0. So just now you can see the offense is tailing off and the defense is not getting better. So it's kind of a progressive story that's gotten worse.
So this is all non-conference play. Just to clarify with you guys, the OVC competition actually starts on September 21st versus EIU. So is there hope that women's soccer can get their act together before the first OVC game, Sam? What do you think?
I do. I think there is hope. This is not something where there's concern. I would not.
I am concerned.
I wouldn't sit back and be like, yeah, this team's going to go on and win an OVC championship. That's not my thought right now. They haven't given me that picture. But seeing like a tie versus Chicago State, they did get a win. The recent schedule doesn't look great. The Missouri State game, the Drake game, and the Evansville game. But they have an opportunity now where maybe a lucky win, like maybe you get lucky and you beat SLU when you maybe shouldn't have on paper, that can really turn a season around. I am not one to say a team is dead in the grave after just a few games to start the season. I just know that's not true. It's not
correct.
It never is destiny for a team to just be completely written off. So I don't think anyone should do that. I do think that this team needs to find some mojo, though.
But even just a balance, I think.
Yeah, exactly. A balance is probably the best word. A balance between individual effort, team effort, a balance between offense and defense, and just
literally everything.
Like start from scratch even. That might be the key. Just going as in mindset. Don't start from scratch on the plays and all that, because I think they're there. I've seen the opportunities come about, but they're just not finishing on those opportunities.
And so the women, they are actually predicted to finish 7th in the OVC with 65 points. And this is not last place, y'all.
No.
I can't remember what place it is, but it is not last. So that is good. I do have hope for them. Like Sam said, they did have a great start, right off that bat with that first game, coming from an off season to straight, taking that win, especially with such a bad season that they had last year. I think that was a great push. And then when they went to Chicago, or when Chicago came here, whatever, it was 2-2. They got 2 goals in, and I think that's also showing a lot of hope. So I think they just need to regain that kind of trust that they have with each other that they sort of had within the beginning, and that new oh, it's a new season, fresh start. They need that energy continuing on.
Yeah, and from our previous episode with Andrew Gavin, one of the things he mentioned was this team having kind of popping off, no one was really expecting it. And I still see that potential. It's just not striking. The match isn't striking at the moment. But if they can really get to gel as a team, I think this is 7th is the prediction. I think they could get up to 5th, maybe 4th. That's how they have it laid out. It's just needing to execute it. And there is some up and coming. I know that Burton started Kristen Keller versus Drake, and it ended in a 2-0 loss, but she's a freshman, a goalkeeper. It was interesting to see after a struggling loss against Missouri State, which was a 4-2 loss. So the previous goalkeeper came out, the starting goalkeeper came out. So to see her get in is good. Get new faces in someone needs to be the spark for the team. And once one person gets going, it usually becomes a fire that expands.
And speaking of goalkeepers, OVC actually listed goalkeeper Sarah Bosman as a player to watch this year. She is not a freshman. I'm sure she's well seasoned, but definitely keep a lookout for her during the games.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Women's soccer is one where my attention is on it, but it's is it going to be a good attention, or is it going to be more negative? We'll see. However, we do have another soccer team here at SIUE, and that is men's soccer. And they have, at the point of this recording, they have not played a lot. They haven't. It's a very small sample size, and some interesting lore behind the sample size, honestly.
There's a lot going on. I would say this year is definitely different compared to the previous 2 years. Starting off with, usually the teams have sort of a retreat and a bonding trip during the spring, as you guys may have heard from Coach Wasserman saying that in our previous episode. But this year, they actually did not have the chance to take that bonding trip, which is kind of a big deal because this is the first time where they really get to, connect as a team and visit an away game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, really, to play as a team, you have to know your teammates. And sometimes it develops in knowing them off the field and on the field. You know their habits on and off. Because when you travel, people don't realize that these athletes are traveling around the country and that you sleep around these people, you eat with these people. Billy is chewing his pizza and he eats with his mouth open, and it's just really annoying. You have to get to know your teammates and their habits. They're good and bad. So to hear that they didn't go on the retreat was really interesting to me. And then getting into that a little bit, I was told that they went out to Colorado. They played Air Force Academy and Denver, and they kind of treated that as the retreat. Now, normally they go off, and I believe they don't even have a game. They just spend time together. They do kayaking or whatever. I don't know. But they kind of treated this as the retreat, and I think that's interesting. It's a different dynamic. I don't know if that was by choice or not by choice. Hard to say. But let's go through their record a little bit. So they are 1-2 men's soccer at the point of this recording. They started off with Florida Gulf Coast visiting SIUE, and they lost 2-1. That was on August 21st. Then they went, like I said, they went out to Colorado. They faced off against Air Force, and they won, beat them 2-1. And then a few days later, they played Denver, and they lost 2-1. Literally the same score, just different results.
Yeah.
But I will say this is kind of a perk for the Cougars, I think, in the end, because in the game I saw, the Florida Gulf Coast one, it was shaky. There was moments of I didn't like the confidence on the team. But I will tell you what, it was still a close game. It's not like they got blown out of the water. They still came up close, and it was, I think, if I remember right, it was a last-minute goal, near the end of the game. So that's a good sign. And then the other ones are also relatively close. So the win, you'd like to see them kind of get more, but I still think it's a good push in the right direction.
And as we all know, men's soccer is coming off of a 2-year back-to-back winning streak, not only in the OVC, but also in Bronze Boot, which will be coming up tomorrow. Now, the interesting thing about Bronze Boot is that it will not be held at Energizer Park this year in St. Louis like it was the previous 2 years, and it also will not be a doubleheader, meaning the women will play against SLU here, and then the men will play against SLU at SLU.
Yes.
Which is interesting because typically throughout Bronze Boot, whatever team wins, it is played at their home. SIUE won last year, and now they're playing at SLU. SLU? Why'd I say SLU? SLU.
Yeah, they played at SLU. Yeah, I don't know. We don't really have a solid info on this. This might be something Audrey's looking into.
Yeah, I'll get back to you in about a month when we publish again. But this is definitely interesting. I don't know the reason, but I will just let you guys know that it is going to be different this year. And it's going to be different for the teams because, these teams have just come off of playing at a neutral site for the past 2 years against SLU for the Bronze Boot. And now especially the men's team, they're going to be playing at SLU. So they will not have that home turf kind of feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another notable thing is I feel like SIUE from the last 2 years at Energizer Park, they really put out a good crowd again in downtown St. Louis. So really you could think it's kind of home field advantage for SLU, even though it's a neutral site.
Yeah.
Yes. But that to me is a big indicator of wow, that's kind of crazy that the SIUE won't be as aggressive defending their championship too. It's gonna be harder. Not they might still show out, but they're not advertising it as much and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it's not as big as it has been the past 2 years, but it should still be a great game. So I do encourage everybody to pop out. I feel like I'm in middle school. Pop out, guys. But yeah, I do think it will be a great game. As the OVC has also predicted the men's soccer team to finish first in the conference with 98 points.
Yeah. Well, this ties really well into the most recent edition of the Alestle, where I published my view from the sideline on the pressure being too much. This is another team. There's so many teams that you could just dissect and really dive into, but this is one that's really interesting to me. In the article I talked about, it has almost been 10 years now since men's soccer's made it out of the first round of the NCAA. Now, this last 2 years have been great. They've made it back with the help of Coach Wasserman. He's driven them there. But it's really interesting to see, like, they've done so much good. Are they going to be able to take the next level this year, or will the regression begin? And I think for fans, like, Bronze Boot's kind of an expectation for the most recent college students here, and for the alumni too, because after the 41-year gap, 1 year off where you don't win, it's like, okay, how long is this going to be?
And I mean, especially just coming off of March Madness, high expectations for SIUE in general.
In general, yes. No, I completely agree. The Bronze Boot game will be a really big indicator for how SIUE is perceived in soccer and in sports in general. Can they basically stay at the top? You know, how can the king hold the castle? I don't know. But it's a good analogy, because I don't know how every team goes through highs and lows. Clearly, SIUE, like, even in last year, they didn't have a perfect record. It's hard to repeat that year after year. Everyone was like, oh, they're still the best team. And they were. They won the OVC regular season. They won the tournament.
And knocked out in the first round of NCAA.
Right. And now, I don't want to say there were excuses for both those knockouts, but there was legitimate reasons of, like, that affected the team.
Weather and
all that kind of stuff. And goal injuries. Red cards.
Well, that's on them.
Yeah, that was maybe self-inflicted. But I will say, are the excuses going to get you out of the first round? No. And the window of, like, how competitive can your market be for so long? In college, it's sometimes different than professional. Like, the windows are longer and shorter for certain schools. But for SIUE, you don't know what the talent level is going to be. Transfer portal comes up to mind. Like, these guys could just move on, and you just can't keep them. And how do you replenish that talent? I think Cale Wasserman has done a great job, but how many years can he keep doing it? I don't think he can do it for a 10-year run. You know, it's just not possible at a school like this. Maybe at like SEC school where they can just pay out the money. Yeah. They're going to be competitive. They're going to be on the charts for the next, 10, 20 years, whatever. But SIUE doesn't have that capability. I'm interested to see how high they can get while this window of success is open. And that's kind of what the article talked about. And this is kind of that moment of, are we going to keep it, with the Bronze Boot?
And kind of talking about the players, we had a lot of standout players, come and go, particularly with the goalkeepers. We had goalkeeper of the year twice in a row, and they have both graduated. So I'm wondering, like, is this also an expectation?
Yeah, right. Like, how many players of the year can you produce? And I think they have good odds.
I was going to say, like, they just started, but 2-1. That's all I've seen.
Yeah, right. And it doesn't matter if it's goalkeeper or offensive player or even defensive player of the year. If you can just get one in there in that category, it just keeps SIUE on the map. And that's the way you stay, like, maybe you're not winning OVC championships every year, but if you can keep producing solid players, it still allows incoming players to be like, oh, they produce success. That's the idea you want in every player's head. And every fan's head, really, is success.
And speaking of success, the OVC listed defender Archie McDonald as a player to watch this year. And I have seen him play last year, and he's really, really great. I mean, obviously, there was so many excellent players last year that got the spotlight, but I feel like now is really his year to shine.
Yeah, we could probably name, like, a whole list of players.
I could go down on my fingers and my toes.
Yeah, like, there's so many just talent. And it's from the last 2 years, too. Some of them have lasted even to now. But no, it's really, really crazy. It'll be interesting to see how they do. I'm excited for the Bronze Boot game, for sure.
So the Bronze Boot game actually used to be held in Busch Stadium, Sam. Did you know that?
I did.
Were you aware of that?
I was.
Did you?
I was, yeah.
Okay.
We had Andrew Gavin on. We talked about it.
Well, did you guys know that? Okay, if you did not,
then listen back.
I'm gonna need you to go to last week's episode and hit play. Thank you. And then come back.
And then after that part, Audrey and I gave Andrew Gavin an amazing idea to have a baseball game at Busch Stadium.
That is true. So, Sam, if SIUE were to play a baseball game at Busch Stadium, who would they play? What would it be called?
That's a great question. And I wrote down as the section for this part of the show as bronze bat question mark.
Bronze bat.
I think it works.
I like it.
Or you could call it the bronze glove.
No, I like bat.
I do like
like
bat.
the double
I like
B.
bat too. But you think of like golden glove, in baseball. That I don't know.
Stop talking.
Yeah.
So anyway, answer my question.
See, okay, so in my head when I was thinking about this, I was like, everyone would be like, oh, well, they'll play SLU. Of course, I'm like, no,
because that's just specifically for soccer.
Bingo.
Because the coaches, there's like this, so I can't even. There's so much interconnection between the different schools.
Rich history, the most historical collegiate rivalry in men's soccer.
There you go.
Yeah,
That said.
Yeah,
said.
You said that basically.
But the thing is that that's just for soccer, and that spans way beyond Division I, and that spans way beyond. So, in my opinion, I think Carbondale.
I agree.
Just because it's I feel like that's
Carbondale is also I have a class where it's like
in Carbondale.
No, it's between Carbondale and SIUE students. It's online.
Oh.
And we were talking about sports because they were asking about our sports, and I was like, "Yeah, I thought you guys had a pretty good baseball team." But off the top of my head, I don't know very well. And he was like, "Oh yeah, our baseball team is like the best in their conference and all."
Then why haven't I heard of them?
Yeah, right. I know. That was kind of my comeback. Like, well, our baseball team was pretty good too. but I think it would be like really cool to see a Southern Illinois battle.
Especially since you were talking to a professor and he was already like, well, ours was blah, blah, blah. I feel like it could also drag in a pretty big fan base from both schools.
I agree. And with it being at Busch Stadium, that's kind of the most local, Major League Baseball.
It is definitely a hike from Carbondale.
It is.
But I think but it is in a Major League Stadium, which is kind of like, you don't have that many opportunities.
Right. And the thing is, the stadium holds 45,000 plus people. Like, I think it would be really cool to see that place fill up with as much as you can. Mm-hmm. I might even do better than the Cardinals. But
get out.
But there is another team I have on my radar, and I put SEMO on here because I know that they have a good baseball program, but they're also from Missouri. So it kind of one of my favorite collegiate rivalries is Illinois and Mizzou. They do a friendly game. Sometimes I think it's in basketball. They play at Enterprise Center. A lot of the times as like a neutral site to play a friendly game. I think that would be really cool if you could get again, it's OVC this time, so you could get SEMO, SIUE, try to bond a rivalry a little bit more.
I think they should play against the Wilds.
Oh my gosh, stop talking.
So I think it would be called Bronze Bat. I actually think it should be Bronze Bat with a question mark.
Bronze Bat with a question mark.
Yes, but spelled out WITHAQUE. Like spell
I think
it
they
out
should
with
play with bronze bats.
You know what? Well, who's to say a wooden bat isn't bronze?
No, it's not. But it would be funny if they had to play with bronze.
A single bronze bat.
Yeah, they just have to share it.
Pass it on. It's like, ooh, yeah.
I mean, what else? I can't think of a better name. I wrote.
Maybe we can make it a different color.
Yeah. Maybe it's like
Golden Glove.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Silver lining.
Silver line drive. I don't know. I don't know.
I like bronze bat question mark.
I like bronze bat. Yes.
Okay.
Give her the question mark. That was me not knowing if that was a good name or not.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it would be fun. We can hope that Andrew Gavin will hear our words. And
I personally think that would be really fun, especially since we aren't having Bronze Boot in Energizer Park this year.
Yeah.
I think that doing that would be a big hit. Obviously, I don't think you could book it like right now. But.
Right. I think St. Louis is just such a historical baseball town. Like, it's baseball heaven, whatever they call it. But I will say, like, the Cardinals have a really nice setup. Busch Stadium's a beautiful arena, and they also have Ballpark Village is really cool too. That would be really cool to have a college.
And then everybody goes and gets drunk.
You could. But I was going to say, it would be a really good environment for college students downtown. So if you're from Carbondale and you're not used to a big city, or you're from Southern Illinois, like the SIUE region, and you're not used to it, Ballpark Village is a nice area for college students.
I also think it could be because...
It's expensive, though. I'd like to throw that.
I also think that it's a good... I don't really think we do much with Carbondale.
No,
and,
don't.
we're all part of one system, but we really don't have any connections.
We do have a friendly soccer game because women are playing them, or have played them.
But that's not like a thing.
Yeah, but it's not like a known, let's get riled up for this game,
Especially women's soccer.
Well, okay. Yeah. Didn't hear
No,
that.
I'm not because they're women. I am a woman, by the way. Don't know if you didn't know that. Not because they're women, but because they just aren't on their game yet.
Yeah, it's not like I'm hearing about Carbondale soccer. They can't be that
I mean, I was gonna say I'm not hearing them either. So,
but no, I do think it would be really cool. I think you could go with either team, either the SEMO, because you get the Missouri tie. Because I don't know, I feel like the Cardinals would be like, well, there's no Missouri team here, like the Cardinals. I don't know, they seem like very high esteemed organization. Like they have to have it their way or the highway.
Do you talk to them?
No.
Do you talk to each Cardinal?
No, but like just the ownership, they have their own controversy and. They just seem like...
And that's for another episode, guys.
Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you for tuning into this episode. We will have to talk all about the Cardinals. No, I'm just kidding. We won't be talking about the Cardinals anytime soon. But you tune back in for more sports updates and maybe more guests. We'll see. We'll work on that for you. But for now, we will go on break. So next week, you won't hear anything from us at all. And then the week after that, you'll get a brand new episode of Alestle After Hours. And then we will be back with another episode of Alestletics the week after that. So thank you guys for tuning in. Go follow us on our social media, and we will see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.